Vamos ya con la ponencia inaugural de este 13º Congreso Conchemar. Y lo vamos a hacer pues planteándonos, reflexionándonos sobre, en este tiempo, en estos 30 años desde la publicación del Código de Conducta para la Pesca Responsable de la FAO, que efectivamente era 5 años antes de que el Vigo del Celta consiguiera ese título. Gracias, alcalde por situar ya los hitos deportivos que interesan en este auditorio. Bien, pues obviamente desde ese momento la captura mundial, desde el momento de la publicación de este Código de Buenas Prácticas, la captura mundial se ha mantenido estable. Pero desde 1995 la población mundial ha crecido en un 42%, 2.500 millones de personas, de habitantes más nos acompañan desde 1995. Por lo tanto, como es obvio, la acuicultura ha ido creciendo anualmente, además a un ritmo muy importante. Ha supuesto un gran aumento de producción de alimentos acuáticos. Así que vamos a plantear la siguiente ponencia con 2 preguntas. Una es, ¿qué significa la producción pesquera para el aseguramiento alimentario y de la nutrición? Mucho, en eso vamos a estar de acuerdo. Y segundo, ¿tenemos garantizada la sostenibilidad de esos recursos? Desde luego que va a ser muy interesante escuchar las reflexiones que va a hacer sobre ello Manuel Barange, que es el director general de la FAO y director de la División de Pesca y Acuicultura, encargado de la ponencia Producción, Sostenibilidad y Uso de los Productos de la Pesca y la Acuicultura 30 años después del Código. Adelante.
Muchas gracias. Buenos días. Voy a hablar en inglés si necesitan auriculares. Good morning. It's a great pleasure to deliver this keynote on the occasion of the 30th anniversary of the endorsement of the FAO Code of Conduct for Responsible Fisheries. We must remember that the code emerged at a significant period of ocean governance. The UN Law of the Sea only came into force in 1994, establishing responsibilities and obligations for coastal states. The 1993 FAO Compliance Agreement set principles for fishing operations in the high seas, and the 1995 UN Fish Stocks Agreement focused on the management of straddling stocks and highly migratory fishes. The code was designed specifically to set negotiated standards and soft principles that were expected to be translated into national legislations over time. In the following years, the Code was supported by international plans of action and technical guidelines under the auspices of the FAO Committee of Fisheries. But a lot has happened since 1995, apart from Celta almost winning a competition 5 years later. Let's look at what happens in 95 compared to today. The number of people living below the poverty line has decreased from 39% of the world's population to 10% of the world's population. We don't have reliable information from 1995, but from the year 2000, the number of people suffering from hunger has also decreased to 8% of the world's population. Still an unacceptable percentage, but things can be bad and better at the same time. Capture fisheries has not changed much in volume, but sustainability has decreased, and I will get back to that later. Aquaculture has grown by a factor of 4 since 1995, and it is now the main source of aquatic animal products. And as a result, aquatic animal food production has doubled since 1995, increasing per capita consumption and contributing to positive nutritional outcomes. But let us turn to capture fisheries and focus on the sustainability of marine fisheries, the heart of my presentation. First, some context. FAO started to assess the long-term sustainability of global fisheries in the early 1970s, and this was fundamental in the negotiations for the UN Law of the Sea. Since then, FAO has presented fishery sustainability reviews as part of the FAO State of the World Fisheries and Aquaculture report, which is published every 2 years. And every number of years, a more detailed report is released with in-depth clarification of the methodologies, more contextualized technical analysis, such as those released in 2005 and 2011. To maintain consistency and comparability over time, the analysis has relied on a fixed list of approximately 500 fish populations around the world. In 2015, FAO's methodology was adopted as the only indicator of the SDG 14.4 indicator. The latest assessment was released this year on the occasion of the third UN Ocean Conference in Nice, France, adopting a more systematic and participatory approach and providing a more granular representation of the state of fish stocks, as you will see shortly. First, a little bit of the technical basis for the methodology. The United Nations Convention of the Law of the Sea and the Code of Conduct set an objective of maintaining exploited fish populations at a biomass level that produces maximum sustainable yield, or MSY. This is the basis of FAO's index, which classifies stocks into three categories. Stocks whose biomass is between 20% above and below maximum sustainable yield are considered maximally sustainably fished, allowing for natural fluctuations as MSY is not a static point. Keeping stocks at this level secures long-term sustainable yields. Exploited stocks with abundance above MSY are considered underfished, meaning a higher yield is still possible without hampering their sustainability. Of course, if the objective is to maximize production. In contrast, stocks whose biomass is below 80% of the target level are considered overfished, meaning that you are taking from the bank more than what the interest of the bank is giving us. Underfished and maximally sustainable fish stocks are considered biologically sustainable. Over the last 3 years, FAO embarked on a very ambitious update of our sustainability indicator to better reflect the evolving nature of fisheries, increasing the number of stocks, the volume of data and information, and using more advanced modeling tools. This update engaged more than 650 experts around the world in regional workshops who contributed to identifying the list of stocks, collating the necessary data, computing the status, and validating the findings. As the availability and quality of data varies between regions, FAO introduced for the first time a tiered approach to stock classification. Tier 1 stocks are those subject to formal, scientifically based computational assessments, and the status of these stocks is derived directly from national and regional bodies. Tier 2 stocks are those with reliable catch data and other complementary information, and their status is derived directly from so-called surplus production type models. The status of Tier 3 stocks is determined from a weight of evidence approach using all information available and a peer review process. Tier 1 assessments have higher data requirements and complexity than Tier 3, but Tier 3 are more suitable for data-limited situations. Through this analysis, we have computed the status of a staggering 2,570 fish stocks around the world, of which half of them are classified as Tier 1. Now let's look at the global results, providing a clear understanding of the current status of world's marine fish stocks. This is based on the base year of 2021 and will be updated to the year 2023 in the next SOFIA report, which will be released next year. In this base year, 64.5% of exploited marine stocks were estimated to be within biological sustainable levels and 35% unsustainably exploited. Now, this percentage takes all stocks equally, regardless of their abundance and the volume of their catch. Combining the level of sustainability of each stock with the volume of production allows us to estimate that 77% of the fisheries landings on that year were from biologically sustainable stocks. These figures indicate, first, that sustainability remains a global concern, and second, that the larger stocks monitored by FAO tend to be better managed, and that this management is producing positive results. FAO also provides the index broken down by region and by species groups, and this is the average for the regions. At regional level, there are very distinct patterns, despite variations in data quality, assumptions, and uncertainty. Areas with strong management systems in place, such as the Antarctic, the Northeast Pacific, the Northeast Atlantic, and the Southwest Pacific, have the highest sustainability rates, with over 75% of the stocks fished at sustainable levels. In contrast, areas like the semi-enclosed Mediterranean and Black Seas, the Southeast Pacific, the Eastern Central Atlantic, and the Western Central Pacific continue to face significant sustainability challenges, all with only half or less than half of the stocks assessed as sustainably exploited. Data quality and coverage varies across regions, and so regional comparisons should be made with some care. I will now present more detailed results from two areas relevant to the country that hosts us today. The Northeast Atlantic, which we can almost touch from here, is the fourth most productive fishing region in the world, with fisheries playing a significant social and economic role in European history and development. The updated reference list includes 178 fish stocks, all but one classified as Tier 1, and all scientifically assessed by the International Council for the Exploration of the Sea. In the Northeast Atlantic, 76% of the stocks in the reference list were classified as being at biologically sustainable levels, and in terms of landings, 87% of the fish reaching the markets were estimated to be from sustainable stocks. The percentage of fish stocks exploited at biological sustainable levels in this region has been increasing significantly since total allowable catches were implemented. For example, the European Commission Joint Research Centre estimated that 75% of the Northeast Atlantic fish stocks were sustainably fished in 2021, while in 2003, only a quarter were in this situation. This is a consistent, positive, and evolving picture. The Mediterranean and Black Sea region is a complex region with very significant differences and many social, economic, and political challenges. Thanks to the General Fisheries Commission for the Mediterranean, we now know the status of 114 fish stocks. In this region, only 35% of the stocks were classified as being exploited at biologically sustainable levels, and only 57% of the landings were estimated to be from sustainable stocks. It is worth noting that, though, thanks to strong management action, this region has experienced a 30% reduction in fishing pressure in the last decade, and biomass is starting to increase as a result. So far, I've talked about past and current trends, but what about the future? FAO and the OECD team up annually to project trends based on bioeconomic models of the sector. What do they tell us? In terms of production, we expect a 12% growth in the volume of production in the sector, most of it from aquaculture, bringing a record 192 million tons of aquatic foods for direct human consumption in 2034, 13% more than the base period, which is 22-24. Per capita consumption is projected to grow by 3.3%, almost reaching 22 kilograms per person per year as an average, with consumption growing everywhere except in Europe, although very marginally down, and sub-Saharan Africa, where production will not keep up with population growth. I guess we've all read Alice in Wonderland, and in this book there is a message that I like. While running with the Red Queen, Alice notices they are still in the same place. And the Red Queen then answers, of course, in this country it takes all the running you can do to keep in the same place. If you want to get somewhere else, you need to run twice as fast. Applying this to us, doing what we do now may keep us where we are. But if we want to change, we want to transform, we must do more. It is for this reason that FAO developed its Blue Transformation Strategy. I do not have time to talk about the strategy in detail, but suffice to say that for 2 years running, it has been identified by the G20 agriculture ministers, not the fisheries, the agriculture ministers, as a priority in the fight against hunger and malnutrition. The strategy is anchored in 3 basic objectives: grow aquaculture sustainably, with a target of 30% growth by the end of the decade; ensure that 100% of marine and inland fisheries are placed under effective management, because management works as long as it is applied; and upgrade the value chains of aquatic foods, from reducing waste and loss to bringing value to the products, bringing to the markets. Now, this year, FAO will celebrate its 80th anniversary at the World Food Day in Rome on October 16th. The state of undernourishment will be discussed, as well as the technical solutions to transform our food systems, including our aquatic food systems, to make them more effective and efficient. It will be noted that globally, if you look at the blue line, we have overcome the pre-COVID and COVID spikes in food insecurity, but the percentage of the population suffering from hunger has been growing consistently in Africa for over a decade. That's the red or orange line. There is where we need to run, and to run fast. Fisheries and aquaculture are under the spotlight as one of the priorities to end hunger and malnutrition in the world. We want to ensure sustainability is at the heart of this fight. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to thank you for your presence here today and for your attention to this important conversation. Thank you.